How many times have you heard the phrase, ignore reality to create the life that you want? How many times have you heard that? And I was a big believer in ignoring reality. Turn away from the problem, focus on the solution. There's something powerful in that, but it doesn't work. And God showed me through surrendering to him the truth about the futility of actually ignoring reality. Instead of ignoring reality, in today's video, I want to tell you why you should face reality to change it. You see, because reality is fluid. It wants to change, and it changes under God's influence. And when we actually face our issues, face our problems rather than ignore them, we start to actually find the courage and strength to overcome them. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't deal with the emotional distress of what reality is creating, but rather you want to face it, then let go of the emotional attachment to it, to then find peace, which is where God enters into your life and then creates. You see, because ignoring reality tends to make us push away from it, and we just keep pushing that fear deeper and deeper down. So I've got a massive bill, or I've got a health issue, or I've got something, I just ignore it. No, I'm not going to the doctor, not going to pay that bill, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to bury my head in the sand, and then I'm going to get more and more fearful. I'm going to act from that reactionary state because I've been trying to ignore reality for so long, and then I'm going to create a bigger problem. God tells us that we should let go of fear. Trust that reality is ever changing through his grace. So we face the problem without fear. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. So we no longer fear reality enough to ignore it. We face it knowing that we are protected and guided by God. And this is exactly how you do it. So you're facing a problem, your health issue, your business is failing, something is happening, and we need to find a solution to it, okay? What does it do to you? How does it make you react? It becomes the God of you, doesn't it? So it starts to make you feel fear. Now you have to try and fix it. Instead, I want you to go to that fear. I want you to sometimes even visualize the worst case scenario so you can actually see how much your body is in this fear-based state. The ignoring of reality is sometimes we tend to then resist it. And what we resist will persist in our life. That which I greatly feared has come upon me. So ignoring it never deals with the root cause, is that we're scared about the situation. So when we learn to deal with fear, we can start to let go of it. So the first step on doing God's work to create a new reality, rather than ignoring it, is to face the problem. Notice how it makes you feel inside. Realize that your body is speaking to you. The deeper part of your mind, your deeper mind that is connected to God, is showing you your true feeling. The body is the lie detector in that moment. It's showing you what you actually feel. Now what we have to do is detach back and observe that. Observe it till it starts to move. Detach, let it be whatever it wants to be. Let that fear do whatever it wants in the body. It cannot hurt you. You see, this sensation cannot hurt you. Often we want to ignore reality so we don't have to face the issue going on inside of us. But if you face the issue going on inside, your consciousness is like the light, the shining light of the divine. And where there is light, there cannot be darkness. So the darkness must leave, you see. So it starts to leave the body. But then we have to realize these truths. Once we start to realize that our wonderful way that we talk, so we've dealt with the fear. Now we have to realize, am I talking about that reality in a negative manner? Am I using the power of my tongue, my speech, to talk life into this issue? So I don't want to ignore it. I want to face it, let it go. Then I want to speak of divine truths, because there's power within the tongue. We're told it in the Bible. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. That's in Proverbs 18:21. Think about that, okay? The power of life and death are in the tongue, so our words have power. Okay, so now from that place of peace, I want to speak divine truths, such as God is guiding me now. There is a divine solution here. Where there was a problem, now there is only a solution. I give this problem over to God. I surrender it truly to God now. God takes over in my life. I surrender my life to God. I shall fear none of this evil anymore. I do not need to ignore reality, because reality isn't my God. Reality is the playground of God, and God can come in and do anything with such reality, you see. So we start to speak these divine truths. Then we have to understand it is the fact that the fear in the body keeps making us dwell on the problem. So they'll often tell you to ignore reality because you're dwelling on the problem, okay? But what happens is without fear, the thoughts stop. So if you do step one, you're going to be in peace. And where there's peace, there is no problem. But we're told, do not dwell on the problem, okay? Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. That's in Isaiah 43:18-19. So what I want you to know from that is we do not need to fear what has been, what has happened, what we went through, where we are now. That's why I always tell people, accept where you are without judgment. Yes, you may be financially ruined. I've been in that place. You may be unhealthy in chronic pain. I've been in that place. So I accepted where I was, and I ask you to do the same. Do not ignore it. Do not push away from it. Actually accept it and face it for what it is. It's something that's happening, and it's something that has been. But God is always creating new things in front of you. Every step can be anew. And when you stop dwelling on the past, dwelling on the problem, you open space for God to create new things. So you let go of the fear of the problem. You've faced it. You've accepted it. You've talked a new beautiful life into it with divine truths. But no longer will you allow yourself to keep emotionally tying yourself back to the problem. So every time your mind goes back to the problem, what do? We go back to step one, step two, step three again. Okay, now we're also told, rather than to ignore reality with mental effort, we're told to surrender to God. Give it over to God if you're facing a situation. Cast all your anxiety onto him because he cares for you. There's a loving Father there. We're told that in Peter 5:7. So I want you to know this. We're told to give over our anxieties, not to ignore them, to cast them onto God. I give this problem over to God now. I give all my fears over to God now. I do not dwell on this problem anymore, for it is in God's hand. God is the CEO of my life, guiding me, loving me. He is my shepherd. This is what I want you to know, okay? So I'm going to tell you, you do not need to mentally force. Many teachers will ask you to train your mind to not dwell on the problem and ignore it. But actually that's effort, and it goes against the true nature of life, which is flow, balance, harmony. So just cast it out. Again, you can do that by observing, realizing that the temple of God is within you, that the light of God is within you. And as you sit still and know that it is God within you, be still and know that I am God. Remember this. As you do that, it will start to lift and leave you. And now you are reborn in a new energy again. Okay? So let's talk about that, because here we're talking about manifestation in God's name, in essence, creation through God, isn't it? So God says, God calls things into being that were not. That's Romans 4:17. So it's God that creates. So all we need to do is align to that true nature of God. We do not need to be mentally perfect, emotionally perfect. We do not need to be perfect at all. We always just need that faith of a mustard seed to give it to God, to know that God can create any problem, can change any problem, I should say, and bring a solution. Okay? So let's talk about this last thing. The problem is a dream announcing itself. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Think about it. So God always has beautiful ways to prosper us, elevate us, create for us. When we start to surrender to God rather than ignore the reality in front of us, sometimes we realize that God has put this reality in front of us to test us, just like Jesus was tested for 40 days and 40 nights, to help us grow into the being that can have the thing that we want and keep it. Because when it's done in God's name, you're always allowed to keep wonderful things. This is truth. The problem isn't a dead end. It's God's setup. This closes everything for us perfectly here, because it realizes that the problem is just the setup for us to rise up above it in God's name, to then bring the solution to us. So all I ask you, no matter what you're going through, is do not fear reality. Do not try and ignore it. When we ignore it, we give power to something. It's too powerful for me. I can't face that. There is no power greater than God. Stop making a God of reality by ignoring it. Face it, let go of the fear, trust that in that space you've created, God will create solutions. One of my favorite affirmations I want to leave you with, and I want you to write it down in the comments if you have made it here. With God, there's always a solution. I shall fear nothing. With God, there's always a solution. I shall fear nothing. Know this to be true. I've done it in my life, and I'm telling you, beautiful things have happened. I did the other day for about 2 or 3 days, just put my phone away, went away with my wife, didn't look at business, didn't look at anything. And I'm telling you, my life transformed whilst I was away because I gave it to God. If you want to hear about that video as well, comment down below. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you at the next one.